This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you play your props. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat. And to help you keep working out the system till you work out your position and your person's top commission. The perks you gotta listen, help you curb the competition. Got them wishing that they had the app earlier. Surely, them haters try to catch some white stones, but this earlier. Load up the app, make my predictions and get the serving. The player prop predictor is sicker than having hernia. Betting trends like an elixir for pit, but it's just PlayerProps. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you play your props. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat.
It's so hard, Chester.
This player props, yeah.
It's so hard, Chester.
Sit this player props, yeah. This player props on a mission to win all these bets, we don't see competition. Money line, the predictor is helping us get it. Team trends 1 or 2, yeah, you know it's exquisite. Join the score, yeah, you know what it is. The community thriving, we taking our time, just run us all up. Us the best with alignment, we do it with care, we ain't wasting a diamond. Getting this bread, educated, we bet in the spread. Only if it makes sense, we ain't greedy opinion. We check our hand out, then we having our reasons. Player props betting, but without the mutiny. This is what knowledge, it means opportunity. Making deposits, that's nothing that's new to me. This more than betting, we building up unity. This player props, yeah. We're running research. We running it up with every tool, you know in each perk. Show tested them water, see helping you swim even if it's feet first. Knowledge strategies and all you need to help you eat your said this player props, yeah. We're running research. We running it up with every tool, you know in each perk. Show tested them water, see helping you swim even if it's feet first. Knowledge strategies and all you need to help you eat your. Hey, this is PlayerProps. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you play your props. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat. And to help you keep working out the system till you work out your position and your person's top commission. The perks you gotta listen, help you curb the competition. Got them wishing that they had the app earlier. Surely, them haters try to catch some white stones, but this earlier. Load up the app, make my predictions and get the serving. The player prop predictor is sicker than having hernia. Betting trends like an elixir for pit, but it's just PlayerProps. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you play your props. AI. This for winners research. We run it up with every bet until you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even if feet first. Now strategy.
Howdy, y'all. Happy Sunday morning. We are doing things a little bit differently than we've been doing all season. So what we've been doing all season, we did a lot last season as well, is we've been kind of tweaking the concept of a live stream that's on Sunday mornings that essentially is focused on community picks. So what we've been doing for at least the last few months has been something we've been branding as 2 for the money. So we did like a 3 for the money thing where you're like, hey, let's have the community figure out their favorite plays for like receiving yards, and we find the 3 ones that the app likes the most. We put them together, and then we reduce that down to 2 for the money. And so we were having fun just doing these community focused picks things. And then now with this Christmas week, normally my schedule is, for NFL anyway, is on Tuesdays we drop our Thursday night football show. On Thursdays we drop our Sunday night, and on Fridays we drop our Monday night. That's pretty much what I've been doing for a good chunk of the season. But now not only do we have Saturday games, but we also have, the Christmas week made things a little strange as well. So we had a NBA Christmas, we had an NFL Christmas, then we had, if you watched the video for last night's, we had a Saturday night play. So as the title suggests, if you've been paying attention, you've been making a good chunk of change off of the NFL shows. We are factoring in concussions and ban list. We're on a 16-day NFL streak, so we're trying to make it 17 here. So, for this one, first off, if you're not in the Discord, you probably have no idea what's going on because you ignore everything coming out of my mouth. So make sure that you follow the mathematical formula at the top of the screen. If you want to win more, you have to get the app, you have to get the Discord. Those are two things that are part of the equation. Same thing with any math equation. If you take a part out of it, you don't get the same result. So the only way to win more is by getting the app and getting in the Discord. If you just get in the Discord and don't get the app, you're not going to win more. If you just get the app and don't get the Discord, it's going to be pretty tough for you to win more. What I've built is, by design, a specific system that works when you do everything, when you follow the guidelines, when you get in the app and the Discord. So speaking of the Discord, last night, or pretty much most of the day yesterday, I asked everybody in Discord, I said, what do you want Sunday? Do you want to do the same 11 a.m. Eastern Time live stream, or the Two for the Money show? Or because the Christmas week kind of moved everything around, do you want to get a Sunday night play of the day? Which normally, the entire season, we've been recording on Thursdays. And I think it was like 2-1, so like a 67, 68% amount of the votes were on a Sunday night play of the day. And so I was thinking, I go, what if I just merge both of them together, where we still give you what you voted on in the Discord, a Sunday night play of the day, but something we've never really done before is do a live play of the day show. So I'm going through the exact same thing that I do on every single recorded video. It's just you get to see it live in action, and you also get to comment and ask questions about if there's anything you don't understand about during the process. So we're not going to be doing the community vote where you guys are dropping your favorite play in the chat, and then we're looking it up. We're going to be going from beginning to end exactly as if I was just recording a show for Sunday Night Football. Now, a few things I did want to mention is I haven't mentioned Wanna Parlay in quite a while, but I think because we have so many people in Wanna Parlay states that are still saying like, man, I wish I had access to like money lines and stuff like that. So what I want to do here is I want to throw this up on screen real quick. First of all, they added 2 more states. So if you're in the state of North Carolina or Vermont, normally, up until like 2 weeks ago, you didn't have access to this app, but you now do. They're active in North Carolina and Vermont, and as you see, they're active in a crap ton of other places. If you are in a light purple state, this is the app that we play on to get access to props and money lines and spreads and team totals and game totals and pretty much everything that you want to bet on. But normally, up until this time this app came out, we only had stuff like, most of these states like California, Texas, whatever, only had things like Prize Picks. And Prize Picks, of course, if you're familiar with that, is just player prop only. So there's a lot of new people coming in from Texas. I know that because I see TX in their Discord usernames, which, I mean, I'm happy that we're getting a lot of people from a lot of places, but I just noticed there's a lot of new Texas users coming in. I'm not sure if one of my ads is going specifically to Texas. I don't know, but hey, the more the merrier. Anywho, if you're in a light purple state, you see at the very, very top, you go to wannaparlay.online, and if you use promo code PlayerProps, that's where you get the $250 bonus that everybody talks about in Discord. So it's like a $250 deposit match, and there's no other app or site that exists in North America right now that has that kind of deposit match bonus. And I know because I've checked all of them, and that's what I do on a daily basis. I keep tabs on things. Again, if you're in a light purple state, wannaparlay.online, use player props, you get as a promo code, and that's how we play in the states that don't have legalized gambling, like California, Texas, and a bunch of these other ones. That's how we do money lines on top of player props. You can even mix them together and do all that stuff. Any questions about that, just ask me in Discord, and we can get into more detail there. But I definitely wanted to bring that up because there's 2 more new states, and there's a lot of people coming in from these purple states. Wannaparlay.online, promo code PlayerProps. All right. Didn't mean to throw that back up again. So something else that I wanted to mention real quick before we get into the play of the day. If you guys have watched, I haven't really mentioned this in the last week, but we're going to touch on this real quick before we get into the process, if you will. Do you guys remember at the end of October, I mentioned that I drove down to South Florida in my Mustang, and it was record flooding. I drove my car, the horrible lighting, out of a parking lot and went to go turn from a stop sign onto the road, and my car literally drove into a lake that was created from like 7 hours of torrential downpour and horrible infrastructure of roads. Long story short, at the end of October, going down for a sports investor summit thing, I drove because I live in Central Florida, I drove my Mustang down, and essentially the flood ate my entire car. So I spent a month fighting with insurance. I had State Farm. You guys suck, by the way. Month fighting with them because they're like, oh, it's not totaled. And then every mechanic in the world's like, oh, no, this is definitely totaled. So long story short, it took me literally a month for them to agree that it was totaled, even though every expert on planet Earth said, yeah, there's no way this is ever going to drive again, because that's what happens when you drive a car into a lake. But on top of that, I even fought them I didn't have to fight them on the check amount because we were on the same page there. But the reason why I bring this up is I want to show you guys what the plan is. So I didn't have a plan to buy a new car because I had a Mustang that was only 2 years old. But because I had to do a life reset here, I wanted to turn lemons into lemonade. So my concept was I want to get something that helps the business grow, that helps my Discord grow, that helps the app grow, that helps everything that I'm doing grow, right? So what I decided to do is I decided to get a vehicle that had a lot more surface space than a Mustang, and then customize it, and then eventually put like ad space, like essentially have a driving billboard for PlayerProps.ai. So I want to show you guys, it's currently on stage 2. So stage 1 is buying the vehicle. Stage 2 is I got the base wrap and the design of the vehicle that I want. And then stage 3 is actually putting the player props, like the QR code and all that sexy stuff, the billboard stuff, if you will, like the vinyl decals around it. So I'd like to introduce you to the player props mobile that goes by Thanos. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my new whip. So this is a Cadillac Lyric. It's my first EV I've ever had. When I bought it, the wheels were not black and the vehicle was not the satin metallic purple, but I wanted to create a player props mobile, so I wrapped it in this, and so it's going to have this stuff, and then it's also going to have stage 3, of course, is the vinyl decals that'll make it the driving billboard there. So yeah, I'm creating a player props mobile, and I'm going to be driving around Florida quite a bit, so if you're in Florida, keep your peepers popped for it. Now, now that we finally got to the point, let's look at what we're looking at for the play of the day. Focusing right now on Sunday Night Football. So, if you have seen any video, it's the same process. If I don't do a video for one specific day that has, like, let's say I don't do something for Monday Night Football, for example, just take what I'm going to do right now and then copy and paste everything I say, everything I think, everything I do on the app when you're looking at Monday Night Football. It's not rocket science. You just have to follow the guidelines. It's that easy. I know there's a lot of numbers. I know you're like, oh man, there's so many things here. We break it down for you on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, on the YouTube channel you're watching this on, which, by the way, if you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button. But yeah, we're going to go to it here. So I don't look at anything. Whenever I do these play of the days, whenever I do anything, I never look at the app before I hit record because I want you guys to see how I process things without having any predetermined knowledge of anything. So, again, we know that we're looking at Sunday because we have Sunday's day, that's today. So we know we want to do Sunday Night Football. So we're simply going to highlight Sunday Night Football, the Chicago-San Francisco game here. So when we click on this, we know that the only things we're going to see here on screen are specific to the 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time game. We always start on receiving yards. DraftKings is the default as well. And then the first thing that I normally look at, which you guys, I mean, this is the same. If you guys have seen at least 2 of the NFL shows, it's the same thing. But for those who try to avoid watching them and still expect success, which Again, you have to apply yourself if you want to be successful. You are only going to be successful as you try to be. So if you weren't successful in 2025, then you're going to have to do something different in 2026. Because the textbook definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So what I do here is I change it so I don't want to see a baby line. So the baby line is anything under 40. So let's see, there's 4 players in this game. Now, what's important to note is it just dropped 30 minutes ago that George Kittle is highly unlikely to play in this game. That's essentially why you don't see anybody besides CMC with the receiving yard line of 40 plus, but there's somebody that's going to need to get the George Kittle attention once he leaves. That doesn't necessarily mean, what's his name, Tonga, is going to get all of his targets, but essentially somebody's going to have to get his targets. So we have Rome Odunze is out. So we got Burden and DJ Moore as our 2 starting receivers. We have the tight end, then we have a running back here. So there's not really a crap ton of options, mainly because Chicago has the injury of Rome, San Francisco has the injury of Kittle, and so what the books are doing is whenever there's an injury, whenever somebody's questionable, what they normally do is they kind of just hold off, especially DraftKings and FanDuel. They're terrified of losing money. And so every time I do a play of the day, we don't see many things here. Normally what I do is I go to BetMGM because they don't care as much about losing money. They just want to get your action because they're the redheaded stepchild of the sports books. So FanDuel and DraftKings have such a large market share that the only way anybody else in the United States can get growth is they have to do things differently than those top 2. So if those top 2 are clutching their pearls like, we don't know if he's 100% ruled out or not. We don't want people to bet on the over and unders because we don't want to lose money. BetMGM's always like, hey, fam, get over here. We got stuff. Look, like I said, they have Ricky and Juan already up here as well. They don't have, the only thing they're missing that DraftKings had was Loveland, the tight end for Chicago, but they just might have a line that's not high enough to be part of this filter here. But there's absolutely nothing here that's anything close to sexy on receiving yards because the highest difference is 2.0 and the lowest difference is minus 9.4. So it eliminates any possibility for us to play any of the overs, which we wouldn't really look at an over anyway because you see the defensive matchups. Both teams have orange red. So orange, if you are confused on what I'm saying, is the combination of yellow and orange, which is what this color is. It's not yellow. It's not orange. It's orange. But both teams this season are in orange in total pass yards allowed, and both teams have done a lot better the last 3 games, which is why it's red for total pass yards allowed. So I don't think, even if there was a crazy high difference, if it would make any sense because of that. So if we click the under, the only player is Christian McCaffrey of his receiving yards. But again, the concern is these lines and these projections and everything. Like George Kittle has to be 100% ruled out for the lines and the projections and everything to essentially populate or to recalibrate. And once he's officially ruled out, then you wait a couple minutes, check it again, and you're going to see the lines are going to be a little bit different. But I don't think so. His line was this morning or this looks like it was a couple days ago. His line opened at 38.5, and then it's kind of crept up to 45.5. I know that he's been really low the last 3 games. And we even have the projection. So the AI said 38.5, which I believe was below his line, 48.99, 47. So he's got a similar projection range to what he has now. But, of course, I believe George Kittle was playing in all of these games. And then the games that George Kittle wasn't playing in might be the ones where he went bananas here. But I don't know. I don't know if we can ever go under CMC on anything. He's just too good of a running back. And it's also like, I mean, you also have to factor in the true difference. So we have like 45.5 here and 42.14. What is that? A 3.36. There's not even that much like gap there between the two to even consider that. So I don't think receiving yards are going to be our play, because we are looking at passing yard defenses. Typically what I go to next is rushing yards, but I just want to quickly see what the passing yards lines are. So it looks like both quarterbacks have a difference of 2.3 to 2.6%. Caleb Williams, small peg on the over. Brock Purdy, small peg on the under. So there's nothing there either that looks good. I mean, we wouldn't target Caleb Williams over anyway because of the orange red. So if we were to consider the under, it's probably under because maybe like the Kittle stuff. But I mean, both of these teams are essentially playing for something. They're not just playing out the last 2 weeks. Like, they both have purpose. We saw that yesterday. Texans had a lot of purpose. Texans won. Ravens had a lot of purpose as well. They had to win and then hope that the Browns beat the Steelers, and then they have to beat the Steelers week 18. So you have to focus on the teams playing with purpose. Do not focus on any player props or any money lines or spreads of teams that are not playing with purpose. If they are completely ruled out of playoff contention, and it is not a division game, because division games, it still has a purpose. Even though you can't make the playoffs, you would love to kick your division rival out of the playoffs or out of playoff contention. So if it's not a division game and they're not still in playoff hopes, or there's, just don't even bother with it. There's so many other things that are not part of that equation that make more sense. So no passing yards, no receiving yards. We're going to go to rushing yards next. So in terms of the defensive matchups, which is the first thing my eyes glance to, Chicago has allowed the sixth most rush yards this season. They've been a little bit more stout the last 3 games, only allowing the 16th most. San Francisco's had a pretty decent stout defense this season. There's only 7 teams that have allowed fewer rush yards in them the entire season. They have let up a little bit more than normal, 21st in the last 3 games. So anything against San Francisco's defense, rushing-wise, would be an under, and anything, maybe an over for anything versus Chicago's rushing defense. But DeAndre Swift has over 3 yards, 5 yards, 9 yards. And then the highest under is CMC, like 7-ish yards difference. But again, as I mentioned before, CMC is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and there's no way in the world that we're ever going to go under on him. It's the same thing of like we have a rule in our MLB Banalist channel that says you don't go under against aces. You'd be like, oh, this ace is projected. And an ace in baseball just means like they're like a top 10 pitcher in the league. But we just don't go under. You don't want to go under the best players. Like, imagine going under on Derrick Henry last night. You don't go under the GOATs. First ballot Hall of Famers. Don't go under on them. There's a reason they're going to the Hall of Fame. But yeah, like, everything's conflicting here. Like, I would be interested in an over for CMC, but nothing makes sense. And I would be interested in an under for Chicago because of the red defensive matchup. But looks like everybody on Chicago, their 3 backs, if you want to consider Caleb Williams a back technically because he runs and scrambles a lot, they're all projected over. Swift. Hold on. Let me look at something real quick. I'm going to look at this closer. I'm going to look at this a little bit closer. So he's hit this a ton. This is what, last 10 here? So he's only not hit this twice. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. At Baltimore, he was projected at 54, and at Pittsburgh, he's projected at 61. Today, he's projected at 65. 45 projection, 50, 55, 58. So this technically, well, this, hold on. In the last 10 games, 65.51 is his highest projection. His second highest was against Pittsburgh, but then that was not a good game. His line was as high as 58.5. Now it's at 56.5. This is on BetMGM anyway. We can compare books here in a second. What I also don't like is the running back by committee thing. And I know, yes, he's had this running back by committee in these games he keeps hitting, but I think the two things we have to look at is, first we have to look at what's the spread for this game. Okay, so this is supposed to be a close game. San Francisco is favored by 3.5, but actually, so I'm not even sorting this. This actually says that out of all the spreads today, for the Sunday day, including day, 4 p.m., and Sunday Night Football, this says that the AI likes Chicago to cover the spread more than any other spread today. And I feel like the only way Swift hits is Chicago wins. Look at the money line predictor. Chicago. Okay, so right now the books have San Francisco to minus 190, which means they have the sports books give them a 65, 66 implied chance to win, and RAI says way too high. This is a lot closer of a game. San Francisco should only have a 52% chance to win, which is why they also favor Chicago covering the spread. But I think the only way that Swift hits is if Chicago wins. Not just if they cover the spread, but I feel like they have to win to cover the spread, right? Let's look at other stats. So yeah, I really don't like that defensive matchup. And I don't like the fact, like, if Chicago was favored by the books and by the AI, then I would look into something like this. Oh, I mean, also slightly better matchup. I don't like this matchup either. Yeah, we're going to look at a different stat here. Let's look at receptions real quick. So as I mentioned before, George Kittle is highly unlikely. Let's just go ahead and say that he's out for the sake of the stream here. So these 20% target shares, these 25% target shares for everybody on San Francisco, these are all going to go up a little bit because you don't have that massive behemoth of another first ballot Hall of Famer tight end to catch all of them. So the interesting things are, out of all the San Francisco players, BetMGM only favors one of them. I believe, let me check the bottom of this here. No, there's not a single San Francisco player that the sportsbooks imply going over the reception line. He's got minus 120 under. We already know, because this is plus 105, the sportsbooks favor the under. Sportsbooks favor the under here. That's crazy. So even though George Kittle is highly unlikely to play, all of the sports books still imply that every single San Francisco player are going to go under their reception line, which I think that's happening because I think so many people with the George Kittle news are just blindly betting everybody on San Francisco to hit their over receptions because there's so much more action to go around. And I think the sports books, that's probably why they're favoring the under, because they're taking in too many bets on the over. No, that doesn't make sense, because that would make them favor the over or imply the over. No, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, this doesn't make sense at all. And when things don't make sense, we don't like to touch it. Looking for the Chicago guys. I was looking at this guy in fantasy for my flex spot. 1.5 reception line, so it's a baby line. We don't target baby lines. feel like he's got to get 2 though. He's their big body target with Kittle being out. Yeah, I don't know. Something's not clicking here. Let's look at passing touchdowns. Hmm. 75% accuracy. This is a pretty juicy line though, or odds. Minus 210 doesn't really pay you that much. But this is like the first thing that like looks good, but except for this part doesn't look good because you don't want, that's not going to pay you enough on that. I don't hate this. I just hate this. And then there's not really anything here. And then the fact that Caleb Williams is a 40% accuracy through 15 games, that means his passing touchdowns are unpredictable. Something we hit on Christmas, Bo Nix pass completions. No difference whatsoever. Pass attempts. Caleb Williams, 32.5 pass attempts is pretty high. That's a pretty high line. I don't want to touch that. Take a peek at anytime touchdowns here. Something that I've been teaching you guys on all the other Sunday streams is we don't touch negative odds anytime touchdowns because the chance of somebody not getting in the end zone is not worth you risking money for a minus 275. Oh, but it's CMC and it's a trifecta. Yes, I understand. Is he going to get in the end zone? Probably, but it's not worth the bet if he doesn't get into the end zone. You want to focus on anything that's plus 100 or better, and it looks like everybody else on this is plus 100 or better. He's the only negative odd anytime touchdown. So I'd probably look at somebody like Juwan Jennings. 0.75, plus 105. I'm going to keep looking because I don't like forcing things, and I want to keep looking until there's something that I really like. DeAndre Swift, rushing a reception, receiving yards. My thought process here with this player in the stat is that the AI kind of likes his rushing yards already. I wasn't a huge fan because of the defensive matchup, but if we pair it with something to where maybe they don't win the game, but they keep it close enough where they can still rush the ball and establish the run in the fourth quarter, but during the time of playing catch up, they're still doing dump off passes to him to kick up his reception or his receiving yards. This difference isn't crazy sexy. So I think the first thing I want to do is I want to go to the player props comparison. I want to see real quick, before we spend too much time on this one, if we can find a much better line there. Swift over rush attempts. Team totals. I'm reading. Sorry, I'm catching up on all the messages you guys are dropping in chat. What are we looking at? Bears. Bears. Ooh. DraftKings has 69.5, so like 70 plus. That's like 4 yards better. Okay. Hold the phone. Let's flip to DK now. Yeah, that's like a 10-yard difference. And DK had him at 79 at one point, and now it's gone down to 69.5. What? This doesn't make any sense. There was a drop of 10 yards. What is this, like a few days ago? What? But this makes more sense for a close game, I think. because whether they're trailing by a little bit or whether they're up by a little bit, and I just went through the whole spread predictor money line stuff with you guys, and I said this is going to be a pretty close game. The AI has the Chicago spread as one of their favorite ones for the day, which means they think it's going to be a lot closer of a game than any of the other games. A lot closer than what Vegas is saying than any of the other games. But I think we might have got there. I'm glad that this is why we use the player props comparison. This is why you shop for lines. Don't just take a line because your one sportsbook you play on has a line. Because if you go back through all of your 2025 bets and go to all the ones that you lost, every single bet you lost by 0.5, or what we call hook. If you lose by 0.5, so like if you bet somebody over 10.5 rushing yards and they get 10 exactly, so you lost by that 0.5, you say, hey, you got hooked. So that's what that, if you ever see the word hook, that's what that means. If you go back and look at all of your 2025 bets that have hooked, that you've lost by 0.5, you would punch yourself in the face with brass knuckles when you look at, if you were to shop lines, if you were to see every other sportsbook or app available to you in your state, and specifically only targeted the best possible lines, you would have made so much more money and you would have saved yourself from so many losses. That is why we do that on every episode. This is how you win. I mentioned on the last 1,000 episodes I've done, 99% of people that bet on sports lose money. It's very, very, very hard to be part of the 1%, especially when you have no idea what's going on and you're just throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded. But we have a formula and a platform and a system that helps set you up for the best possible chance to be part of that 1%. And it's literally, the math formula is right here at the top of the screen. Get our app, let's get in the Discord, equals win more. The amount of people that are only on the app or only in the Discord are not completing the equation, and then they're like, why am I not winning more? Because there is a math equation and you're not listening to what I'm saying. So I think this is what we're rocking with here. And it's crazy because DraftKings normally doesn't have like the best line when we're shopping for lines. And the fact that they have here is pretty interesting. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go through any of the questions people had, because I was kind of in the zone, focused on finding you guys play to keep our 16-day NFL profit streak alive. Let me go through here. Josh, screw State Farm. Looks like a Lambo. Oh, the car. Truckin' Man, what's the ideal difference to look for? Definitely double digits at minimum. It depends on the stat, and it depends on the line as well. Like if you're looking at like shots on goal for hockey, the lines are like 1.5. The lower the line, the exponential difference in the difference, because the higher the line is, the more gap between the line and projection has to happen for the difference to grow. So there isn't just look at X amount of difference for every single stat. It is stat specific, but you definitely don't ever want to look at anything that's less than double digit difference. But again, it is stat specific. I'm not saying, ooh, I like that this is 14. I'm saying I like the fact that the difference between 79 and 69 is 10, or 9.5 roughly, but rounded up 10. And so this is what I'm looking at. I like the difference between this and this. Focusing on this, I mean, if you're looking at like quarterback passing yards, there can be a 30 difference between here, and it'll still only say 12% difference because it's relative to the line. It's percentage difference. And if you're looking at hockey with 1.5, you can see something that says like 100% difference. And it doesn't mean that it's any better than this versus this. I'm not sure what happened in the last 5 milliseconds, but the bet score just updated to a 90. So yeah, that just happened. Maybe the bet score is watching the live stream. I'm going through any more of these. Rushing and receiving yards for CMC. Because the AI is under on both of them. Was it Combinator? the AI liked the under for both, and so I said we don't go under on first ballot Hall of Famers. We don't go under on GOATs, so I wouldn't go under on either of those or the combo of both. Looks like somebody was answering your question in chat, Truckin, about the double digits or higher. But that's kind of like the bare minimum. But again, it depends on the stat and the size of the line. I'm going. Joey wanted to make sure that Juwan Jennings is 2-0 on anytime touchdown. Somebody said Swift is on the cheat sheet. We can bring that up real quick. I don't know if it's rushing and receiving's on the cheat sheet, but let me see here. I don't think we have rushing and receiving on the cheat sheet. I see rush attempts. I don't see Swift anywhere else, though. Is that what you're talking about, the rush attempts? Unless I'm blind. I don't see him here. I don't see him for receptions or receiving yards, just for rush attempts. Is that what you're referencing, rush attempts? Let's see here. Well, yeah. So apparently everybody is betting on this live, which makes sense. And you guys have already moved the line up. So they said that DraftKings is now showing a higher line. But again, just keep shopping lines. So if everybody's moved the line up on DraftKings, just keep shopping for something else. But if you're able to get at 69.5, congrats. The early bird gets the worm. Yeah, you can do 70 plus for Swift instead of doing the over under line. That's the same. I mean, that's kind of what it's showing anyways, the 70 plus. But yeah, this is the first time we did a play of the day live. So A, line shop. B, actually the line shop's probably like C or D. A, download the free, at minimum, if you want to have more success in 2026 than you had in 2025, or if you just don't want to bleed as much money out as you did in 2025, at minimum, you have to get the free version of the app. At minimum, you have to get into the free Discord. If you can't do those two, you need to not bet on a single thing in 2026 until you are able to commit to yourself and your family on having a better life financially by not lighting all your hard-earned money on fire, which is more than likely what you've been doing in 2025 because, again, as I said before, 99% of people that bet on sports do not win. If you want to set yourself up for the best chance to be part of that 1%, I can't guarantee you can be part of the 1%, but I can set you up for the best chance of success to be part of that 1%. Just follow the gosh dang guidelines. It's not rocket science. Get in the Discord, ask questions, get better. Ladies and gentlemen, good luck with everything. I am in 3 championship games out of the 6 leagues that I drafted this year. 2 of them are the PlayerProps.ai leagues, so I am hoping to win both of those. We'll see what happens. I had Derrick Henry in one of them, so that looks good so far. And then I'm in the largest, most prominent fantasy football league for the industry, for the fantasy sports and sports betting industry. You had to win your way into this league, and so I won my way in a couple of years ago, and now I'm in the championship game for the 2nd year in a row. I lost last year. The guy I'm versing is the same guy I lost to last year, and so I'm going to be sweating bullets the entire day, hoping that my team does what they need to do, because winning that has been on my bucket list for the last 10 years. Good luck in fantasy sports. Good luck with all your bets. Please, for the love of all that's holy, ask questions in Discord. The only way that you can't have the only way that you can fail is by not asking questions. So if you feel like you're failing, you're like, oh man, I can't figure this stuff out. This is so difficult. Have you been asking questions? Because if you have, that's how you get better. I mentioned this in Discord. I blasted this a couple days ago. I was watching a podcast that Matthew McConaughey was on, and he was talking about how his dad, when he was young, got super mad, like he was grinding his teeth any time that Matthew McConaughey said I can't do this, or I can't figure this out. and he made sure that he never said the word can't, and instead you change the word can't to having trouble with. There's nothing that you can't do. There are things that you can have trouble with, but there's nothing you can't do. You can have trouble with becoming a successful bettor. You can have trouble maybe with understanding the guidelines or any part of this app or how to even use Discord. Having trouble with things are okay, but do not give up because you think you can't. You can, but how much are you going to try? The more you try, the better your chance. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, so it looks like it just updated to the line you guys just said at the end there. Man, you guys, this is what PlayerProps.ai does. This is what the community does. We find things that make sense, we lock it in, and then bada bing, bada boom, it skyrockets. But yeah, you can still move it to the 69.5. It is now not the best book, but other books have it lower. But ladies and gents, good luck. We'll see you guys in Discord. Ask questions. It's mandatory. If you ask questions, it's guaranteed that you're going to get better as long as you're listening to the words that come out of our mouths or listening to the answers that people say in Discord. If you just ask questions and ignore